Hi everybody. I've had a few requests from people asking me what can my papers be used for. They look pretty, they'll say, but what do you do with them? My papers can be used for backgrounds in my layered PSD templates. They can be used as standalone backgrounds. They can also be used as overlays. I'm going to show you today how to use them both as standalone backgrounds and as overlays. This is one of my sets of papers, old as new. Little grungy, funky, looks great with senior images especially, and outdoor photography, landscapes, just anything that you want to give a little extra to. I opened one paper from the set in particular. It's paper 9. This paper is not available on the site right now, but it will be shortly. It's, like I said, it's just a great paper set. I find myself using this one a lot for my overlays. First, let's go to the standalone backgrounds though. I have a picture opened and I'm going to drag the picture over onto the paper. The paper is sized, all of this set is sized at 12 by 12, 300 DPI. So they lend themselves well to printing up to say 18 by 18. You can also resize them as 8 by 10s, 11 by 14s. Some papers will stretch without any distortion. Others you may find they just won't work other than as the square size. Just play it by eye and use your own judgment. For this, I'm just going to leave it the size it is. I'm going to grab my photo, drag it over. I want to make the photo a little bit smaller, so I'm going to hold my shift key down and let it up when I move it. I'm not going to open my guidelines on the videos. I know that they open up quite small for some people, and I don't think you would see the guidelines anyways. I'm just gonna play it by eye basically. I'm just going to give the photo a little bit of a tilt. You do what you feel comfortable once you get your photo onto the paper. Looks a little flat, and it's like, oh, that's okay, but you know, we really want to give it a little bit of wow. You're going to look to your layers menu at this point, and you'll now have two layers, your background paper and the layer 1 that you just added, your photo. Double click on layer 1 and your layer style box will pop open. What we're looking to do today is you could just add a drop shadow or a stroke. I'm going to add both. I'm going to click on stroke. This is going to give a frame around the image because that is the layer that I clicked on to open the layer style box. It defaults to black. I want to change it to one of the colors from the background paper itself. And let's see, we'll just leave it right there. Click OK. Still can't really see it. It defaults usually down to about 3. I'm going to pump it all the way up into the 40s. I don't like how it just kind of rounds out. That is the position. The stroke is positioned to the outside. I'm going to click position, change it to inside, gives it a nice squared look. Still looks a little flat on here, so I'm going to add a drop shadow. When you click drop shadow, also make sure that you click on it so it gives you the options with the drop shadow itself. I'm going to up the size a little bit, and again, I don't know how much of this you can see, but when I increase the size of the drop shadow, I'm up to like 100, and it's just kind of giving some definition between the paper and the photo. I've heard some people say, well, it doesn't look natural. I actually heard another Photoshop guy who I learned actually a lot from. He said he doesn't care for such a deep drop shadow. It looks unnatural. But to me, it's an art form itself. There's nothing natural about this. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be funky. So do what you think you like, and you'll learn what your customers like. The seniors seem to really love this grunge look. It's been popular for a while, and I don't see it fading out anytime soon. This is something they would enjoy having to bring off to college with them, something a little different. You could do several different photos on one sheet of paper and make a freeform collage for them. You could, at this point, you could add an extra layer. Let's do this really quick. I wasn't going to do this, but It just popped in my head. It's like, no, this is something good to show too. I'm going to add an extra layer. If you look to your layers menu after adding new layer, you'll have a blank. We're going to go ahead and grab our rectangular marquee tool and just drag it out. Again, if you could have your guidelines up and make sure that's all squared off, but for the sake of this, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to grab the white and my paint bucket tool, and I'm going to fill that. I always grab my crop tool, don't ask me why, and just touch, and it gets rid of the little marching ants around. And go back and grab your select tool, double click on that new layer. Let's add a drop shadow under here too, so it matches the picture. And I'm also going to lower the opacity on this layer so that the background shows through somewhat. I'm going to leave it in the low 60s. And what I've created is an area I could add some text to. You could now write out a quote that you or the senior or the parents have selected. And I keep referring to seniors with these. Obviously these are great for using on all sorts of photos. I just find myself personally using them for the seniors, so that's my best way to describe what I'm doing. But so there you've created a little art piece in just a matter of a couple minutes with a piece, one of my papers. Let's strip off these layers. Well, I should say at this point, flatten and save as a JPEG and send it off to the printer. But I'm going to go back, dump everything off of this paper, and show you with the same photo and this background, how to use this as an overlay. This time I'm going to grab the paper, drag and drop it on top of the photo. It's obviously bigger than the photo. I could just leave it this size, it really doesn't matter, or I could drag it down to the size, whatever you think it's going to give you the best look for. Again, it depends on the paper. There might be something on, if it were a framed paper, you would want to drag it in so you have the frame around the edge. With this paper, there isn't a defined frame, so it would be your choice which way you went with it. Okay, let's put this center, and let's get this out of the way so it's not so crowded up here. Again, we're going to look, oops, and it popped open because I didn't apply. Do that really quick. Apply. Look back to your layers menu. We're going to double click that top layer, the paper layer that we just added again. We're going to open up that same layer style box that we just used for the stroke, but this time we're looking for the blending options. It defaults to this, and if you look to the middle of the layer style box, you will see it says blend mode. It usually defaults to normal, but we want to play with this and see what different looks we can come up with. We're going to click the down arrow next to normal, and we're going to go to multiply. It gives us a real dark, artsy look. Let's see, we just want to go down to overlay. And if you play with the different blend modes in here, you will get various different looks. This is soft light, very subtle. If you like something a little darker, like the multiply, but you're not too sure on facial areas and other skin areas, you can always, let's go to one that's not quite that dark. We'll go to the hard light. Click OK. And let's grab an eraser. Look for one that has a soft, uneven edge. And you also want one that is going to scatter. You can make your own, but that's for another tutorial. I do have an eraser available. It's not currently up on the site, but I can work at getting that up there. It has just a nice loose edge to it, and you can erase away some of the skin areas. If you had a face showing, this one obviously she's not looking at the camera, but if you had a face showing, to me it's just better to erase it off of the face. Not everybody does, and you may have a customer that really just wants something out of the ordinary, and once you realize how quick these are to pull together, they're great to show your customers. make a couple for them. I usually do one for my covers for my seniors just to give them an idea. They love these on their Facebook too. And I've heard other people say, well, the parents are never going to order. Nowadays, the teens have a lot of say in what's being ordered, and if they see something they like, they'll ask for it. They'll request it, and their friends will hear about it, and you'll get a lot of repeats asking. And that's it. You know, play with the different blend modes as a standalone backgrounds. Play with the frames around them, positioning, bring in quotes, and one set of papers is fun. A couple sets, you will find yourself really just digging through them, and you'll discover favorites, and it's always fun to have more. They depending on the colors and the particular photos, you might find certain papers that work better, and have fun. That's the main thing. Have fun and help your customers have fun too. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.